You're listening to Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall on CJAD 800.
That is James MENNIE at the Montreal Gazette. And James, I thought we'd start with the by-election, of course, in today in Jean Talon near Quebec City. Everyone's been asked, important, not important. I love your headline, which reads, it means absolutely nothing, and at the same time, absolutely everything. So explain what you mean by that.
Well, that's right. It's do or die. There is no tomorrow. This is it. This is it. It's time to ante up. And this is being described. And thank you for that very respectful introduction, Mr. Rand. I just want to throw that in there.
You're welcome.
No, the thing is, right, everyone has kind of turned this into some kind of Aladdin's lamp. And depending on which way the voters rub it, you're going to see a complete change, perhaps, in the political landscape. It's very, very symbolic. The problem is, in the end, like everything else, or damn near everything else, politics and democracy is a matter of numbers. And I actually decided, because we don't know what's going to happen tonight. Is it going to be tight? Who the hell knows? So I decided to commit some journalism, as I want to do sometimes on this show. And here's some fun numbers for you. The average participation rate in by-elections in Quebec for the past 25 years, believe it or not, has been 41.26%, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, let me segue to the turnout thus far in the riding of Jean Talon. As of 11 a.m., okay, and this includes the advanced polls, 26.85%, and it's a gorgeous day. So I would imagine that the advanced polls, there was a fair number of people out there that were pretty motivated. I'm really wondering if the people of Jean Talon are quite as angry / motivated, inspired as some folks have given them credit for. This, and remember, this riding was first won by the CAQ in a by-election in 2019, Joette Boutin, whose resignation sparked this by-election. But in 2019, the Liberal incumbent left politics, and her by-election, she won that place with more than 49% of the votes, the turnout. It's like very, very interesting here. And I think to a certain extent, you know how it is, guys, sometimes you're standing a little close to the screen and you kind of miss the big picture. And I think all of this microscopic examination of Jean Talon may not be merited. I mean, if it's a blowout on the part of the PQ, yeah, by all means, this is a great comeback. But if it's a squeaker either way, nothing's really been proved, especially if the turnout's going to be very, very low. And as I've mentioned earlier, and this is what other than the gushing coverage that the PQ has won in certain quarters simply because they're not the CAQ, simply because, Francois Legault is no longer the flavor of the month. And, you've got to have some guy to cheer for. If they don't pull this off, there's going to be some very, very interesting questions to be posed, not just about the long-term, God help me for using that expression, future of the Parti Québécois, but also that of its leader. This has been the Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon show from day one, and quite frankly, having been so closely bound to this election's outcome as he has by his perception in the media, and perhaps to a certain extent by his perception in public, if he comes away with anything other than, how can I put it, a noble defeat. If they just lose it by a few points, we can say, good show. But if this is even 5 to 10, I got news for you. People are going to start asking themselves, is it worth spending your time listening to anybody from the Parti Québécois anymore?
Do you want to make any predictions?
Do I want to make, you know what? I am a betting man. I love handicapping elections as much as I love handicapping horse races, but in this particular instance, I mean, am I going to be very brave and say, well, it'll either be the CAQ or the PQ? My one hard prediction that I'll give you guys is that I don't see any long shots coming through tonight. I don't even see Quebec Solidaire, which I think right now, if I was making book on them, I'd say right now Quebec Solidaire, despite the fact that it made a lot of noise at the beginning of this campaign, I give you 10-1. Okay, on really? Quebec Solidaire. If you really want to take a flyer, vote on the Liberals. But the other thing, I may be wrong here, but it's just, and now it's just my gut. I think the Conservatives will do better than people think.
Interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah, because, I mean, we hear from every now and then anyway. I'm trying to think, whenever there's a major issue, right, we'll hear something from the Conservative leader, from Eric Duhem, and you kind of wonder if that after a while starts to sink in. That'd be really interesting to watch tonight. I wonder, too, you know, the idea, and I think we mentioned this last week, Jim, right, the fact that Francois Legault felt the need to go out to Jean Talon to support his candidate out there, actually went knocking on doors, tells you a lot of what you need to know about how important they think this is, right?
Well, especially after in the initial stage of the campaign, he was the man who never was. I didn't want his picture on the poster.
Right. Big change on that.
Yeah, but to look at this as some kind of, you know, major event, I think right now, I mean, and we're kind of handcuffed to it anyways, the real gauge is going to be the monthly Leger poll and see how that's, I mean, they are dropping. They've dropped in the last 2 polls, and it could just be voter fatigue or the public's fatigue or whatever. But one thing I will fearlessly predict is we have an economic update that's not a full-blown budget coming up in November. I know we have joked before about Mon Francois pulling out the checkbook and writing out a little something for you. Here, go out, buy yourself something pretty. I think that's going to be part of Quebec's economic policy for the foreseeable future. I don't see a way, I don't see any imaginative plan for this government to sidestep the impact of the economy, which is really going to start making itself felt this year as a lot of mortgages come due. We have to keep our eye on inflation. I know Monsieur Girard said no more checks. Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat or, you know, funnel some money. But all that, yeah, I think we're going to see more of that sort of like populist solution to economic hardship for the short term anyway, because I really believe the only thing people are thinking about right now, as much as, you know, as we're so clever and we talk about all these things, I think the only thing that most actual real people on the planet Earth and in Quebec are talking about right now is the economy and their economic future.
Well, so what about the situation with the potential threat from all those public sector unions?
Well, they're going to, you know, cross that bridge. It really depends on how they make their case to the public. It wasn't that long ago, Aaron, that, you know, a lot of Quebecers felt that certainly nurses could do no wrong whatsoever, and it was scandalous the way we're treating them. And indeed, that judgment could be applied as well to the equally scandalous manner in which we treat teachers and indeed members of the judiciary. But all that said, in the end, you know, we're very good. We're in favor of better public services and fair treatment so long as we don't have to pay for it. And one thing Francois Legault dare not do is raise taxes. So, yeah, that's the other thing I think we should watch for.
Okay. James MENNIE, Montreal Gazette. Thanks, you, Jim.
Adama.